April 20th, 2026. We're here in the City Council chambers, and the first item on the agenda is a roll call. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Ball.
Here.
Mayor LaRussa.
Here.
Councilmember Perkins.
Here.
Councilmember Schneeman is excused this evening. And Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Thank you. Quorum is present. That brings us to item 2 on the agenda, the Pledge of Allegiance. And tonight we have Webelos PAC 226 joining us to do the pledge. Will you please come to the microphone? And if you're able, please stand and face the flag. We'll wait for the scouts to lead us off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You did great. Good job, Scouts. I had the pleasure of hosting them a couple weeks ago to learn about municipal government as part of their track. They asked a lot of great questions, so thank you guys for coming back. Appreciate you coming to do the pledge. Thank you. That brings us to item 3 on the agenda, public comment. This is the first portion of the City Council meeting where members of the public who wish to address the council may do so. We ask that you please state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to 3 to 5 minutes if at all possible. Are there any members of the public who wish to address the Farmington City Council at this time? Mr. Sweeney, the floor is yours.
Mayor LaRussa, City Council member.
Get the microphone, please.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep, the folks at home want to hear. I know.
They've left, okay. My name's Mike Sweeney. I'm one of your emergency preparedness commissioners. We have 3 other commissioners here this evening, Dr. Igwe, Rob Card, and James DeWelt. It's orange barrel season. We have a fine crop of orange barrels growing. I see there's at least 3 different flavors out there. My favorite is the 30-inch barrels. Although the nice little 4-inch, 6-foot-tall stems are very nice, remind me of roses, and of course the little ankle biters. But they're all out there, and actually we do want them out there. The MDOT is doing a great deal of work out there in 696, and in for the next 12 years we will love it. Not so much this year. I understand the Road Commission for Oakland County has their things, and last week the city of Farmington Hills announced they have $30 million worth of road repairs. There are road repairs. The point of this presentation is to be patient when you're driving. Understand that we want these repairs. We've paid for these repairs. We've yelled and screamed for years that we wanted these repairs, and now here they are. Be careful what you ask for. We ask that you be patient, that plan ahead by leaving 15, 20 minutes early. There will be changes. There will be speed changes. There will be 3 lanes became 2 lanes, became 1 lane. And yes, we all know there's that one jerk who's going to come running down the right side and cut back in there. Do yourself and your blood pressure a favor. Just step on the brake and let him go. Karma being what she is, she will find him at some later time and pay him back for that. But for you, for this morning, for you to get to work, take your time. Make sure that you get there carefully, safely. Now, I understand the irony of this next comment. Minimize distractions. Specifically, we're talking cell phones, and I'm telling you that as I'm looking at my notes on my cell phone. So if you'll please allow me this one indiscretion. Just this morning, I found out that the Farmington area African-American Family and Narden Park Church are teaching a 2-hour free class to teenagers from 15 to 18 years old, no pre-registration required, to teach them how dangerous it is to have their cell phones jibber-jabbering with their friends in the cars, the kind of stuff the kids would like to do. I'd recommend that you have your kids go. And moms and dads, I recommend you get the notes yourselves, because frankly, I drive with most of y'all during rush hour, and I'm more afraid of you than I am the kids. And I know, we got to get to work. We got to get to soccer practice. We got to get grocery shopping. The dog needs whatever. We live frantic lifestyles. But if you're eating your lunch while you're driving your car and checking your phone and making a phone call, well, 10% of the fatal crashes are from people who are distracted at the time of the crash. And even when you put your phone down, the studies say that for 27 seconds after you put your phone down, your brain is still with your phone. So put the phone down, put it in pause mode. Don't let your boss call you while you're driving. Tell them, I'm doing what the EPC said. I'm keeping the phone on pause. I'm going to get to where I want to go safely. He can call and yell at me. It's happened before. It'll happen again. We ask that you watch for the workers. We want them to get home safely. I don't think I need to mention the tragedy that happened on Orchard Lake Road just a little bit while ago with one of our DPS workers. Seems like he was a fine family man, and now his family's missing him for reasons. That's all behind the courts right now. We don't know the reasons. We'll know next year. But for right now, we just say distracted driving, driving too fast, someone was in a hurry, and then they hit this poor man. Please don't speed or tailgate. And I don't know how to explain that one. Everywhere I go, it seems like somebody is speeding or tailgating, and I'd be ashamed to admit it, but sometimes it might be me. So we do ask that you be patient as you enter the work zones, as you see the fine crop of orange barrels. Take a hint, take a pill, slow down, find your favorite tunes on the radio stations, and get to your work, maybe a little late, but alive and well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Others, a member of the public, yes.
Sorry, could you review the format again?
Name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is James Aaron. I live at 22814 Brookdale. And before I get going on my pitch, well, two things. One, I'm not really this breathless. I just came from the True Fit Gym, and they work you hard there. So I'll try not to sound too breathless. But I would like to thank you guys and your predecessors for what's happened in the city for the last 20 years. I've lived here about 23 years or so, and it's gotten better. I was thinking about this morning. Despite whatever that was in 2008 across the nation, and then a pandemic. Like, walking around in the pandemic, I thought, oh man, we're all just going down. But really, we've all bounced back from that, so that's great. One thing I really love about the city is all the opportunities that artists have here. And I love all the music that's going on in the city. Wednesday afternoons, Thursday evenings, Friday evenings, and then Saturday and Sunday at the Civic. I would like to propose that the city join a trend called Porch Fest, which has happened in places like, well, it started in New Jersey, but Port Austin's doing it, Grosse Pointe's doing it, Traverse City's doing it, Pleasant Ridge, I think, is doing it, Ferndale. Canton and Livonia are not doing it. So you make your choice which way you want to go. I would prefer we go the first way. So I propose that we do this on August 8th. But what I'd like to say is I've been planning it a little bit. I've been talking to some folks. I think we have some traction for like 5 to 7 bands, a very small event for the first time. Some of these events, if you look it up online, it's huge. And I would think if we ever got that lucky, that'd be year 10 or 12 or 15 or when somebody else is doing it. But I would love to do it, and I would love to talk to all of you. I know some of you have really nice porches in the downtown area. Your name was mentioned, and your porch was mentioned.
Volunteer.
Thank you, great. And I was thinking we would center it in this very area. At first, I was thinking it would be at my house, but I thought that's a little too far for people to walk if we get downtown as well. So I will send you all emails and talk to all of you about it as much as you want. But I just want to put that in your ear that I've put in a special event application, and I expect to hear back from that at some point. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just kind of excited that maybe we can do this. By the way, if the number's not right or if the date's not right, I'll change anything you want. I just think we should start doing this. So thank you for your time, and yeah, let's talk. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Aaron. Other members of the public who wish to make public comment at this time? Seeing none, public comment is closed. There will be another opportunity at the end of the meeting. That brings us to item 4 on the agenda, approval of the items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Parkins, supported by Ms. Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item 5, approval of the items on the regular agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Motion by Mrs. Balk, supported by Ms. Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item 6 on the agenda, presentations and public hearings. We have one this evening from the Pathways Committee. Ms. Davies, the floor is yours.
Okay. Just want to make sure you can hear me. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting us tonight. My name is Heather Davies, and I'm the chair of the Pathways Committee. And tonight I'm going to present on our accomplishments that the Pathways completed in 2025. So before we get started, I just wanted to call out all the members of the Pathways Committee, myself, then we have Joe Vander Zanden, which is our vice chair. We have Jamie Palmisano, our secretary, and then in no particular order, we have Tim Prince, Kevin Daniels, Dave Herring, Maria Taylor, our city council representative, as well as Chris Weber, our assistant city manager. And as you can tell, we're perfect Pathways pals. I'm really fortunate to have this committee, and I think that it's a great group that is very passionate about helping the committee and is dedicated to improving walkability throughout the community. So one of the committee's focuses in 2025 was improving pedestrian crossings along Grand River Avenue, which is, of course, the road that divides the city. There is a known disconnection between the north and south Grand River. And additionally, there are limited crossings along Grand River Avenue, with most of them being focused in the downtown area. As we also know, Grand River is a state-run road that is controlled by MDOT, and the city must obtain approval prior to making any changes to the roadway, including adding additional crossings. The city has tried in the past to getting additional crossings along Grand River, but unfortunately has been unsuccessful. So, being the brilliant and clever people that we are on the committee, we were able to find MDOT's policy where we were able to see the process and how to add additional crossings along Grand River Avenue. So I will call out, it is going to be a complex process. It does take a lot of steps for the city to take in order to obtain approval. So one of those steps that we first conducted as a Pathways Committee is we conducted a walk audit along Grand River Avenue to identify potential crossing areas, looking at considerations for safety, such as like the number of lanes, the speed limit, pedestrian and traffic volume, as well as like looking at features such as lighting, turn lanes, and then additional driveways for like businesses and homes. And with that, we identified 16 potential areas where we could add additional crossings along Grand River Avenue. Part of MDOT's process as well is going to be obtaining community feedback. So we developed and distributed a community needs assessment where we were able to get feedback for pedestrian crossing needs throughout the community. I do want to call out, we did get 529 respondents, which is significantly higher than the amount of responses that OHM received for the Farmington Forward surveys. So good work, team. And with that, the Pathways Committee analyzed those results and then talked with a traffic engineer to identify the top 5 potential crossings in Grand River Avenue. This is going to be based off of feedback on the survey for community needs, as well as just feasibility in general for these crossings. So the top 5 potential crossings, these are going to be approximate locations. It's going to be out near Women's Park, School Street, near the Sidecar Slider Bar, Farmington Co-works area, as well as between Mayfield and Maple Avenue, and then Lakeway, where they are adding those additional apartments. So our action steps that we've been taking. So in late 2025, the committee started to coordinate with the city as well as MDOT to propose or advance our proposed improvements. And we actually presented our findings to MDOT in 2025. And the feedback that we received was that we need to, or the city needs to complete a pedestrian and traffic study for like volume count, which is going to be a priority in 2026. Especially once the weather gets warmer and we can start getting people walking around at all of the community events that Farmington hosts. Now moving on to additional accomplishments that the Pathways Committee has completed. So there's been a lot of feedback that Pathways Committee has received as well as the city with safety concerns with the crossing at on Farmington Road near CVS Pharmacy. So the Pathways Committee actually met and coordinated with the DDA to look at safety feature improvements that we can work on. So we supported the installation of double-sided pedestrian crossing signage, I said it, to increase visibility on either side of the road, so it's double-sided. We also recommended the removal of the tall grass in the center island, which is going to improve driver sight lines of pedestrians crossing the roadway. Additionally, we discussed adding the rapid flashing beacon, which was going to be actually approved by City Council as one of your guys' priority projects for the year 2026. So with that, we're hoping to continue to improve the crossings at this area as it's a key focus for the community. So the committee has also been focused on identifying, resolving sidewalk hazards or accessibility issues throughout the community. So in 2025, the committee worked with Lucas Darrow, thank you, our ordinance office building inspector for the city to collaborate and create a process of reporting hazardous concerns throughout the community. So we just wanted to say thank you to Lucas for the coordination with the Pathways Committee. And so our process reporting is going to be as followed. So once the committee or an individual presents a concern to someone on the committee, we are going to email and take photos with the location and the issue and email them to Luke as well as Chris Weber. Luke then adds that issue to a progress tracker with those photos and that location, and he starts to reach out to either the Department of Public Works or the homeowner to resolve those issues that have been identified. Once it is completed, then he adds completed photos of what was resolved. So as you can see, the before and after photo, this is just one of the areas that we identified throughout the community where we needed to cut back some bushes next to a home in order to improve the accessibility of the sidewalk. And with this process that we've been completing, we've been able to correct probably 10 to 15 areas throughout the community, and we look forward to continuing to working on more. So in addition to continuing with the Pathways Committee being committed to pedestrian safety, we're going to highlight 3 different accomplishments that we completed. So one of them is we identified as a hazardous tree outside of City Hall here, maybe over here, where we were able to get it cut down. And as you can see, it was almost completely rotted out. And now I know it's going to be the perfect chimney log that we're going to burn as a Pathways Committee together this summer. We also improved traffic safety located near the Vines Flower Shop, where we took that area and we put it to one-way drive southbound just to kind of reduce that blind corner in the area and concerns with pedestrians walking by and cars not seeing them. We also coordinated with public safety as well as the Road Commission for Oakland County to extend the Farmington and Alta Loma light, so the traffic cycle from 9 p.m. to midnight. So that's when it's like stops or starts blinking at night. So it's from 9 p.m. to midnight now to accommodate for evening pedestrian activity in that area. We have also continued to work with the city to identify areas where we can add feedback to improve walkability of future projects, such as public space and planning. So last year, the city presented us with the Art Park Promenade planning, and we identified there was a possible need to add an additional sidewalk on the south side of Thomas Street, just to improve the walkability of that project in general and all of the efforts that the city is putting into creating that Art Park Promenade and extending it into that boardwalk to connect to Shiawassee Park. And with our feedback, the city went back to the DDA and they were actually able to add and install that that sidewalk, as you can see in the photo. And it looks very nice. We also had 2 members of the Pathways Committee that were representatives on the Master Plan Steering Committee. So we had Tim Prince, who was going to be the committee's representative on the Master Plan Steering Committee, and then myself, who joined as a resident with experience in public health background, as well as who likes to talk a lot. So with that, we, continued to advocate for Pathways Committee's needs, and we were able to contribute to the creation of the connections and walkability section in the master plan, which is an area that is new in the master plan, and it highlights the key opportunities where we can continue to improve on the walkability and connectivity of our community. We also created a vision board, and this is where we could identify areas where we could find really cool projects when we were traveling and things that we could possibly implement into our own community. So using that vision board and previous research that the Pathways Committee completed for the Safe Routes to School research, we were able to help the city quickly identify key areas in need of improvement, which ultimately helped the city secure a $480,000 grant with SEMCOG. And so these funds were going to be used to install a new sidewalk on Drake Road, which was one of the key opportunities that the Girl Scouts presented on a few weeks ago. And then they also are going to work on installing safety upgrades to additional key intersections throughout the city. And then, since Kevin, our monthly inspo manager, joined the committee this past year, we start each of our committee meetings with a monthly inspo, which is a fun video where someone brings up a video that's highlighting projects of other communities working on ways that we can improve walkability and accessibility in our area. And we looked at different ways that maybe we could possibly implement those into our own community. So it's just something that we use to help spark new ideas and creative ways that we can continue to work together. And then, as I discussed, again, one of the projects we worked at is we were the initial point of contact for the Girl Scouts to explore adding that additional crossing on Drake Road, which has now been approved with the funding from some CUG grant. And then overall, again, the committee continues to be dedicated to continuing to improve on the walkability and connectivity of our community. And then quickly, what's next for 2026? So the Pathways Committee is going to continue to work on the Grand River crossing proposal, which is going to include completing that traffic and pedestrian study count. It also is going to continue to explore new connections that we can add to Shiawassee Park, including the boardwalk that is going to be connected from downtown to Shiawassee Park, as well as other access improvement points throughout the park. Which we are actually meeting to go on a field trip in the next few weeks to be able to look on different ways we can improve the connections. And then we'll also continue to regularly review the sidewalks and pathways to improve safety and accessibility through our community. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll open the floor to any questions or comments.
I'm Tim Prince. I just want to add that Heather is an amazing worker. She does a ton of work. She spent a whole bunch of time this year working on a grant that we wrote, which'll be part of the 2026 presentation, and she spends an unbelievable amount of time on that Grand River survey that went out, and so she is just an amazing asset to this committee and to the city. So thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. Questions from the council? I have one.
Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Balk?
Oh, not a question, but fantastic presentation. Thank you. Maybe sort of a question. As far as if, let's say, because my husband and I walk all the time as well, if we do see something, I mean, other than your recommendation is just to stamp a picture and send it to Chris and then go from there?
Picture and address.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Yes. So it is something that we are currently, this is like an internal process for the committee, but it is something we should truly explore on something that we could advertise for the community to address those concerns that are identified.
Great, thank you.
We have our own email address, which is pathways.com. So sending to that address would be helpful.
Okay, cool.
And we can publish that so it's aware for public knowledge of what the email is going to be or is.
Ms. Taylor?
Yeah, I just wanted to add my commendations to what Tim said. You do a fantastic job chairing our committee and have so much enthusiasm and always eager to get work done. This is a great committee. There are a few other groups I've started with who have hustled so hard, put in personal time and energy, and hustled grants, gone out and like personally investigated the muddiest of conditions to think that this could make the city better for other people in our community. I really appreciate working with you all, and also pathways@farmgov.com is the email if you want to send us photos of things that need to be better.
Thank you.
I mean, I miss being on the Pathways Committee.
Yeah, this is your time to get your. Quick question about the pedestrian study at school. Is that going to come after the rework on the crosswalk for the Promenade Park? Because I would imagine that new pass-through is going to affect pedestrian traffic in that general area, or is the plan to do school before that happens, or?
That is a good question. I do know at our last meeting a few weeks ago is when we were presented with the DDA's recommendations of, moving the traffic crossing in the downtown area next to Riley Park. That is not something that we thought about. I do know that any of these recommendations that we're doing in this traffic study, this process is for MDOT to approve. It's not including like any funding or anything along those lines, but that's definitely something that we'll probably need to explore. I do know based off the policy, there has to be so many feet in between additional crossings. I also know that when we met with the MDOT, they did say that maybe one of the two areas that we identified as our top 5 might not be feasible, but we didn't get feedback on which one. So our hope is to do a study on all 5 of them to see which one are going to be the key priorities.
Yeah, there's an existing crosswalk there, so I'm pretty sure it probably accounted, your identification of the locations accounted for the fact that there's already a crosswalk there. It's just that now there's the pass-through with the Promenade Park to actually get to school, to get to Thomas Street, whereas before you'd have to walk down to school and then go north.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So just as a point of feedback, I know the DDA is planning to get the Promenade Park finished in time for Art on the Grand. So if that gives you a sense of what the time frame is, if you're going to study pedestrian traffic flow, maybe after that settles in, after Art on the Grand a little bit, maybe that late summer time frame. I know you want to catch some of the event traffic, but that'll be a new crossing, a new pass-through. There'll be a lot of new exploration going on.
That makes sense.
You might not get the same balance of pedestrian traffic as everybody's trying to go through the Promenade Park for the first time.
Yeah.
So something to think about.
Thank you. Any other feedback or comments?
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything.
Nicely done. That brings us to item 7, new business. 7A, Bellacino's redevelopment liquor license. Mr. Weber, the floor is yours.
So we have with us today Landgate LLC, also known as Bellacino's, who has applied for a redevelopment liquor license for 22424 Orchard Lake Road. In considering this request, there's really 2 items to consider. The first is whether or not to allow the applicant to sell alcohol, and the second is whether or not to grant a redevelopment liquor license. So for the first part, whether to allow them to sell alcohol, there's a process in our ordinance that says that no person shall do that without council approval. There's a process that they go through where, as administratively, we research their application, public safety does a background check and researches the whether the applicant is suited for the city. They did their background check and found that there were no issues to bring to light. The rest of the departments at the city made sure that there were no open invoices or outstanding issues, so everything checks out there. And then in order to receive a redevelopment liquor license, the applicant must meet various criteria. The description of the criteria is included in your packet. The applicant's attorney has confirmed that the applicant meets all of the criteria, and we've also, in the city manager's office, reviewed the application and have not identified any issuances of non-compliance. And so today we have the applicant, Joe Tekla, and his attorney, Chris Tower, from the law firm of Atkinson, Need, Allen, and Rentrop. and I think they're going to present their plans for the location and offer it up for your consideration.
Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Do anything to this slideshow here. I don't have any visual aids. I'm very sorry.
Well, that's a demerit right off the rip there.
You should never go after the Pathways Committee.
That's right.
I'm so sorry. Good evening, Council. My name is Chris Tower. I'm with Ag Sanita Allen and Rentrop. I'm here with Joe Tekla, who is the owner of Bellasinos. And I just want to say thank you to Chris. We've been working collaboratively with you, and it's been fantastic because this type of license is usually issued more normally through a downtown development district as opposed to the Corridor Improvement Authority. So this is kind of a first impression for me and just going this route. So I wanted to say a special thank you to Chris on that. As that was lined up, we are just requesting a new development district license under MCL 436-1521A 1B. The couple of requirements we need to hit are 25-plus seats, which Joe has hit. There's a spending threshold. We need to, prior to the issuance of the liquor license, we need to spend $75,000 on the rehabilitation of the licensed premises. We have provided some of that. So far, we're a little bit short, but at the time, we've documented about $67,000, and Joe's getting some quotes to kind of more beautify the outside. And if we were to be approved, then we're going to follow through and get, beer coolers at a bar, that kind of thing. So we think that we're very easily going to meet the threshold by the time that we are able to, request the issuance of the license. So that clears up that one issue. The only other thing I wanted to touch on is just what kind of brought this request about. It will be servicing the Bellasinos, the license, but Joe also is adding a kind of outback hot dog stand, which is going to be great for the summer, and it's going to have a great outdoor service area. So, he wanted to be able to serve a beer with your hot dog. So that's kind of what spurred this initial application. And that is kind of all that I wanted to touch on initially. And if you have any questions, Joe's here to answer any operational questions you might have, or if there's anything else, we're happy to answer.
Thank you. Questions from the council? Mrs. Balk.
Well, it's just funny that I happened to have been last night at Lone Lights and met this other couple sitting there, and one comment was, did I know what was going into another building? And I said, well, I can't say, but the thing they said was, we need a good hot dog place. So the fact that you just said that, it was kind of interesting that you're bringing one in. So thank you. It sounds like it's going to be really exciting and good development for that area.
Ms. Taylor.
Is the hot dog stand going to be mobile or stationary? Like, could it come to the Founders Festival or something like that?
It's fixed. It's brick and mortar. So I don't know if you've been to Bellasinos lately, but there's like a garage door that opens up through the patio. So people will kind of like walk in there, place their order, and be able to chill at the patio and whatnot. But we do have hot dog stands that we could use to do other events and things like that for sure.
Good
I
to
think
hear.
we've done many in the past down at Riley Park and whatnot. So.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say the liquor license is very fixed. Staying at the location. You can't go anywhere else by statute. So.
Thank you for that clarification.
Putting a fine point on it, yes.
I love that.
Other questions from the council? Mr. Parkins.
Just a comment. If you know me, I enjoy a good hot dog.
It really does.
And there's nothing more that my wife would appreciate than is a glass of wine with her pizza. So, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity.
Maybe one for the administration. Is it regular for us to approve in advance of the investment being completed? Is this, I can imagine that a lot of people could come in and promise that they'll hit the investment threshold. So I'm just curious, in this case, I think it's pretty clear, but is there a a line we need to walk to make sure it's not, well, you're at 40 and we think you're going to make it kind of thing?
Before the state issues the license, they'll do their own research. And
Okay.
they will prove out that the $75,000 necessary has been spent.
Okay.
This is the very front end of this process for this license. We have to now, we take our golden ticket, if so granted, the approval from the city, and we go then get fully investigated by the Liquor Control Commission. It's going to be like a 4.5 month long process usually for this type of license. So they, check every receipt, check everything. We can't get this type of license by statute without, fully showing everything. So
Sounds thorough.
we do. Oh, it is.
And yes, sounds very thorough. Thank you for that. If there's nothing further, is there a motion?
Move to approve a redevelopment liquor license application resolution for Landgate LLC, AKA it's Bellicinos, not Bella, okay. I want to say it right.
Well, if you're going to say it right, it'd be Bellacinos, but we'll take the English.
You didn't offer to read it.
We'll take the English.
Thank you. Pizza and Grinders, 22424 Orchard Lake Road.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. Balk, supported reluctantly by Ms. Taylor, I'm sure, because of the Inglese. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Yes.
LaRussa,
Yes.
Parkin,
Yes.
and Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you for your investment in the city of Farmington. Appreciate you guys coming tonight. Good luck.
Thank you very
Let
much.
us know when the pom-poms are waving. Thank you, council. That brings us to item 8 on the agenda. This is the second public comment. This is the second portion of the meeting where members of the public who wish to address the city council may do so. I can repeat the entire spiel if that's necessary, but I think you all got it. Is there anybody who wishes to address the city council at this time? Now we're just going to see how long I can maintain a very uncomfortable silence.
A long time. I'm going to put my, no.
Public comment is closed. That brings us to item 9, city council comments. Are there any members of the city council who wish to make comment at this time? Mrs. Balk?
I think it would be remiss if we did not once again celebrate our town and our most recent accolades. So I just think we should put it on public record that we are the best Main Street in the United States.
%. Yeah, thank you to everybody who's ever schlepped a corn stalk or served a beverage or, done any one of a million things that has brought our downtown to the point that it's being recognized as the great American Main Street. So I want to thank everybody who's made that possible, including everybody on this dais, most of you that are watching on TV, and everybody who's sitting in this room. You all made significant contributions to making Farmington the success that it is. And it's a marathon, and it's not over, and we're all still running, so thank you for that. Other members of the council wish to make comment at this time? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Balk, supported by Ms. Taylor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at 8:10 PM.